Hello, I'm currently in the process of creating a platform for automated course management. When finished, this platform will allow for the easy management of student code and projects, secure grading, and deployment of Docker environments that instructors can pre-configure that allow for students to accomplish their tasks without worrying about dependency management. The last time I demonstrated the download and creation of a class from the instructor's project. This time I'll be demonstrating a few more of the automated features that allow for the course management. One big step between now and then is the course environment that I'm currently using. You'll notice here that this is just a a remote version of Visual Studio Code that's running in a browser that's actually hosted in the platform that students will be performing their programming tasks. I've been eating my own dog food, so to speak, and bootstrapping this course from as close to what a student using the platform could expect. It's a self-hosted version of Visual Studio Code that would let you run it either in a VM or in the cloud. SSH would also be available as well. So this time around, I'll demonstrate some of the automated features for class creation and management by showing the class being created from the instructor's combined solution and skeleton repositories, all of the different class features being added to the instructor's GitHub, and then set up with proper cryptographic security for grading, and then the security of the student repositories as well. And then finally, I'll show the database that powers class registration and assignment grading requests. So I've automated several steps to facilitate the creation of a course. Let me show you my current GitHub right now, and I just want to show this to you because there are not a few projects that will be created in a moment, and I'll talk about what those are as I create them. So the first thing I'd like to show you is the instructor class being created again like last time. This is an example of the instructor running the tool to automate the creation of the repositories that will power the class. So I will paste in the command. I'll talk real quick about what the arguments being run here are. So cargo is, I'm using the Rust language to build this platform. Run is just telling it to run. And then this is the actual instructor repository that they've been working on, essentially the combined class solution, all of the tests, and the assignment skeleton code. And this is just a temporary out where all of these metadata will be written to. So run it. So a lot of stuff going on here. Now it's creating all of the Git repos there, you'll see. And it looks like it was successful. So I'll go through my Git repositories and show you what had happened there. So we'll refresh this and hopefully see 3 new Git repositories. Perfect. Okay. So the student example, this is essentially the code that the students will be working off of. The solution is the instructor solution, and then the class database is the database that will power registration and grading requests. So we can go into these and like the last video, these are just the skeleton code, the overall solution, and the database. And you can see here that this has been added. And this is the only public one because this is assuming that this is the instructor's GitHub. The other ones are set as private, as you can see there. So the solution example, which is the example solution for the course, is set to private, and this contains all of the solution code, as well as the coordination and instructor keys that were created to facilitate cryptographic exchanges in this course via a small little crypto wrapper library that I wrote. And finally, the class database is kind of a log database that I wrote that's super lightweight that will allow students to register for the course or request grading for any of their assignments. So now I will switch gears to creation of the student code. So I will switch to the class registration module that I've built. And all that a student needs to know to register for these courses is the public link of the actual course that was just created, which you can see that's the one we just created right there, the student example. And then they'll also need a key that will be sent out of band by the instructor via email or some other means of communication. And this key for the instructor after creation is located in solution example coordination keys. And the students are actually going to need the secret key from this. So essentially what this does is it gives them, these keys decrypt some of the metadata that actually let them write to the database to register and then to finally request assignment grading. It's just a small security thing to make sure a bunch of people aren't trying to fill the course. So what will happen here is I will be creating a local repository for the student that will be registered on their GitHub. This will show up on my GitHub because I'm logged in as both the student and instructor right now. And it looks like everything went through. So I'll go back to my GitHub. And then there's the new student test class. So this is actually what I would be accomplishing my work in. You can see it's already set to private. And additionally, the instructor's private key, or excuse me, their instructor's public key that corresponds to a private key is automatically already been added to deploy keys right here. So this means that the instructor can pull my assignment to grade it or actually post grades once this assignment has been evaluated. So going back to here, the final thing I will show is the database that will eventually power the registration and grading requests. This is also, again, using metadata that was built during those last two steps. So the key exchanges were done via the class repo I created, and then the student has the secret keys to write to this database in their repository as well. And I'll show an example of that. Okay, so the database is actually going to be running in a very small Docker container. It's not even really a database, so to speak, but we'll build it now. And if everything goes well, it should be running in just a moment. Okay, so the database is now running. Eventually, this will all be transparent to the student. They'll automatically be registered upon course creation. But then let's go create a new terminal. Let's go back to the database just to make sure. There's currently a bug with the database right now where